This is Talk is Sheep, a podcast by the Wild Sheep Society of British Columbia. Come along as we take conversations that matter to you into the high alpine.
Mr. Stelter. Got you that time. Sniped you.
You're going to have to edit that.
No way.
So it's been almost a month since we've talked. We put a bunch in the burner to go. I was away for a couple weeks on business and holiday. So yeah, we're back at it. So feels good to be back behind the mic. And this is a good one. This is Transmission the Film. This is something the Wild Sheep Society BC has been working on for, this is year 3.5, where we started in 18 and here we are in 22 now with a finished product. Amazing. And it, as you'll find out, it was freaking worth the wait. This film it crushes. It's unbelievable. It tells an incredible story. And I can't wait for our members to see it. Awesome.
Jesse sent me a link to it last night, and he's like, "Yeah, I've got an hour. Sit down and watch before the podcast." And wow, he asks me in the pod what I thought of it, and I think my exact word was, "Wow." It was scientific enough to understand without being in your face. It was emotive, and it hits all the boxes as being an educational film that you're not going to want to turn away from it. A lot of these productions can be dry, and it's like, okay, I don't really want to watch this, and you don't really absorb it. And this is complete opposite. So it's going to be good to see how the community reacts to it. I think it's going to be very, very successful.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So if you're keen on going out and seeing it, you get a chance to, and this is a one-off, and it's a very narrow window, but it's not going to be publicly released for quite some time. And the reason for that, you'll hear in the podcast, is that we want it to go through the film festival circuit, and you can't have it out there publicly if it's going through film festivals. So it's going to be held back, but there are private screenings, and there's going to be one on April 23rd in Prince George. You and I are going to be up there, Steve. It's a Wild Sheep Society BC event. We're going to do horn aging with Bill Jex. We got a full day. It starts at 2 p.m. and goes till late at night. And we're going to do a screening of this film. So you're going to get a chance to see it first, and you're going to be the first screening of it in a public setting, but it is considered a private event because you have to be a member. You have to buy tickets to show up and be part of it. So if you're interested, we'd love to have you join us. So we got the horn aging, we got a silent auction, we got a bunch of raffle tickets available. You can come out and get some of our cool raffle tickets for these raffles we currently have on the go. And we have, so Trench Brewing's holding it in Prince George. Don't show up in the door because you're not going to get in. You need a ticket. You go to our website and buy those, and they're going to sell out because we're 3/4 of the way there. We only got a handful left anyway. You show up, and so for dinner, I just got the text from Jesse over at Trench, and it's Texas-style brisket on the smoker. He says it's going on at 3 a.m. to be served at 6 p.m. the next night. Yeah,
they do amazing food there. They really do.
My mouth was watering listening to him. So he said that, and then what else was there? There was mac and cheese. You get a beer with your registration. What else was there? Mashed potatoes, salad, dessert, cornbread, regular or jalapeno. Yeah. It's like it's worth just going for dinner. I'm
absolutely.
That right now.
Absolutely. And we'll have merchandise on site, some of our new stuff that you get to see in person. Our Eat, Sleep, Sheep, Repeat shirts are there. We'll have the Ovis Dally shirts, Ovis Dally hats, the new leather patch hats, some water bottles. We're going to have it all there. So and some kick-ass giveaways as well. So it's going to be a good time. You're going to be learning a heck of a lot, and you get to watch film, drink beer, eat brisket. Where's the downside?
So we're launching our new Wild Sheep Society BC beer. Some of you guys heard us talk about our Blue Bunch bourbon style whiskey that we've paired with Okanagan spirits with, and now we've teamed up with Trench Brewing, and they're doing a California. What is it called? A California lager? Maybe that's not the right word, but
I can't remember.
Anyone that's had Trench beer, it's bloody amazing. They do a fantastic job. Their brew pub in microbrewery in Prince George, they've been around a long time. They do a great job. And this beer, I can't wait to get my hands on it. We sold our first batch of it at our Salute to Conservation. So we're launching that in Prince George. You'll be able to buy it there. You can take a 4-pack away. And for every 4-pack that's sold, I think $1 goes to the Wild Sheep Society BC. So again, you're drinking beer and putting wild sheep on the mountain. Doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, and I'm lucky to live 15 minutes away from Trench. So yeah, I've tried their food. I've tried all their beers, and they haven't disappointed. It's going to be an amazing time. So
all right. So with that, sit back, relax, and you're going to listen to Jesse Bone. Jesse's a director with the Wild Sheep Society BC, owner of Filter Studios, film producer, responsible for the Wild Sheep Society BC film transmission. Enjoy.
If we told you tomorrow that elk, black bear, and bighorn sheep were next, would you speak up? Wildlife needs to be managed by science and not by emotion. And you don't have to be a hunter to take part in this movement. You just have to want sound management of our wildlife in BC. Go to wildsheepsociety.com/act now to use your voice and demand that BC not use our wildlife as pawns in a game of social management. Act now. Or the things that you love could be next.
Mr. Jesse Bone, welcome to the cast.
Well, thanks for having me. That's some very positive, uplifting energy that you bring, Kyle.
Well, this is exciting. We've been waiting for this for 4 years now, literally 4 years. And man, I'm so stoked. I can't wait to talk transmission. Oh, did I let the cat out of the bag?
Well, it's up to you and what you want to let out. But yeah, it has been the longest project that I've ever worked on, and the most meaningful. Well, it turned into the most meaningful for sure. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about it.
Okay, so we're going to back the bus up here. We're going to go back to July 1st, 1946, when you're. Oh wait, no, sorry. Well, let's learn a little bit. First of all, so Jesse Bone to me is many things. So let's let the podcast world let them know who you are, where you come from, why you do what you do, and let's talk your day job, and then let's talk wild sheep. So, and I know there's a bit of a mixture there too. So let's talk about all of that.
Oh boy. Well, I guess bullet point. Way to say it is I was born in northern BC, born and raised in Terrace, and went to school in the Lower Mainland, and somehow ended up putting roots down in Nanaimo on the island after my wife and I got married. I'm quite well known amongst my friends as a person that's probably had every job that could be other than doing retail. Kind of a blue collar guy growing up. Was raised on a farm. Yeah, my first job was a ranch hand. So yeah, I did that from age 13 to 17. And then kind of as I grew up and evolved with my intelligence, I guess would be the best way to say it. I got into more of the creative space and started out then as a photographer. So I was a professional photographer for 3 years, and then met my now business partner, Tash, where we started a video production company, and been doing that in the video production world for coming up on 10 years now.
That's a long time.
Whereabouts in the mainland did you go to school?
I went to the University College of the Fraser Valley. UFV.
UFC, yeah.
Or UFV, right? I think
UFV, so. Yeah.
Yeah, I did my bachelor's of business administration in aviation, where I got my pilot's license. And yeah, if we want to go through the amount of careers that I've had, we can.
That's a whole other podcast. Kyle will tell you all about me and my aircraft background as well. So
we will. Let's do that for sure. I love flying. Unfortunately, it didn't work out as a career for me. I was a flight dispatcher for a while.
Okay.
And I used to be the guy that would give flight plans and do all the hard work for guys like Kyle, and just hand them a piece of paper. And
anyway, so how's the weather down there? Wait a minute. You got to dispatch that. You got to answer that. Their flight dispatcher, the pilot can't.
So, Jesse, with regards to your career, so let's talk a little bit too about your how you got involved in the wild sheep world and where that came from. And it's interesting. Most people come to us through different ways, and you kind of came to us through a different channel that we've never kind of seen before. And it's pretty emotive actually when you tell your story, and I love hearing it. So let's hear how you got involved with the Wild Sheep Society BC.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. I think it's uncommon in our space, especially when you get into the leadership of the Wild Sheep Society. A lot of people come from a hunting background, from those kind of experiences in those wild places that really, they do cut deep, but they're very, very meaningful, and that's where people really draw that connection to those wild places and then to those wild animals. And just, when they get home and they're thinking about those, they want to do more. And that's where they draw their connection. It was a bit different for me. Initially from where it really first started was, I believe it was July of 2019, was introduced to the Wild Sheep Society by, I think it was Sabrina, who used to be the executive assistant or executive director, or whatever her role was back then. And she just approached us about this issue, this Mycoplasma Ovipneumoniae, and said we need to do a film about it, and gave us a space to dig in. So we did that. We filmed some stuff, came up with a concept, started to get into this film. It was very interesting getting to know the world of wildlife biology even more, and just kind of building out a storyline to what we were going to do. And then we came to a capture and call event that was coming up that had our whole team, had biologists, had First Nations, had local representatives, had guide outfitters representation there. It was an event that we knew we were going to include in our film, so we all went. And it was I mean, it's in the film. You'll see what it's like, but it was one of those experiences that's hard to put into words. It's similar to how us, the people that hunt, how we try to explain that feeling about being out there. When you just feel that connection. So it was new. And it was this what happened at that event, and just being there with the people and just going through the emotions that were involved with that capture and call was so powerful for all of us involved. And at that point, the film turned into something more than just a contract that we were fulfilling to a client. It really turned into something that meant so much more. And then it cascaded from there of just digging deeper into the conservation world and there was motivation there already from Tash and I as we communicate things, we share stories and we do all that. And for years we had been, just trying to bring what reality was to the hunting world and to the conservation world, and trying to share real stories. So we were aware of that. And we just wanted to tell those real stories in a meaningful way and try to communicate that feeling when you're out there. So anyways, this film turned into something that we thought and realized right away that we could communicate that, and it had the potential. And so I think at that point is when Tash and I both agreed, same with Dan, our director, that we are going to make the best film possible. We're not going to just fulfill this contract. And I mean, thankfully, the society was so open to that. And it was always a quality over quantity ethos that we got. We said, and I remember talking to the leadership and everybody involved in those early stages, and they're just like, make a good film, make it good, make it good, make it good. And so that really enabled us and empowered us. And I told my team, I said, this is our theory. So anyways, all of that was it cut so deep that when I think a seat opened up on the board, it was I was so motivated and so willing to do whatever was possible for these animals, just from that 2 or 3 day connection that I had with them, that I put my name forward as a director. And I know I was talking to you, Kyle. I was like, is this something that I can help? Can I help at all? And you were very encouraging and very affirming that was a good decision, that I should get involved. And it has been an immersive journey ever since.
Yeah, it's been exciting to watch this evolution, in the film itself, but in an individual too, right? Like I didn't know you well at the outset of this, and just to see your evolution and your enthusiasm, and I can just see it in the film, right? Like it translates. Like you're so passionate about it, and Tash too, right? Like I think both you guys are super super passionate. I don't know Dan well. I've recently met Dan, and he seems just as stoked as everyone else too. So it's pretty cool. Now, before we jump into the film, and I really want to spend a bunch of time, and really that's the main gist of why we're talking today. But were you in the hunt space before? Did you hunt yourself? Like I know you and Tash did a very cool goat hunt with Gooch recently last year. Was that your first harvest, or did you hunt before that? Just out of curiosity, I'm trying to understand that.
Yeah, no. It was interesting. Tash and I always joke that we spend more time together than we do with our families. So we've kind of joined that hunting journey at the same time. There's a long story as to why we got back into hunting and stuff. I was raised on a farm. I didn't do too much hunting growing up. Every once in a while, I'd go out with some friends. Was essentially just driving around in a truck looking for a moose, but never was harvested anything as a kid. And then I think it was probably about 7-8 years ago, Tash and I both just kind of jumped in and got into hunting. And it was right around the time that Nolan from the Journal, he had moved out from Ontario, and he was just getting acclimatized to everything out here. So we did a bunch of hunts with him before he's now the infamous hardcore guide that he is now. So Tash and I kind of started that, I think 7 or 8 years ago, and then kind of try to hunt every year, try to get out for spring bears, and try to find an elusive island blacktail, which I still don't think they actually exist. There's city blacktail all over the place, but there's nothing out where you can harvest one. I don't believe it for a second. The elk hunt, so over the past 7-8 years, it's consistently hunting. But that goat hunt that we did with Pete, it's such an amazing hunt. I actually filmed all that hunt. So, I'm hopeful that we can finally get some time to edit that and share that. But that was my first kind of mountain hunt, or my first experience of climbing up a mountain, killing an animal, and bringing it down with 120 pounds on your back, which is something that's fun on its own.
So there's that famous Jack O'Connor quote about the sheep hunter, right? And a goat hunter, same genre without doubt. They talk about that, either you love it or you'll never do it again. One of the two. I'll never do the quote justice without reading it. So which one was it for you? Are you going back? Are you going on a sheep hunt this year, or are you done? You're never going back to the mountains?
It was something that was in the background, heavily weighing on me of, am I going, why are we climbing the mountain to kill this little critter that's going to have this tiny bit of meat that I'm going to bring home and eat? but is this all worth it? And I guess social timing with getting into hunting, I was part of the big movement of like, oh, I'm going to kill what I eat. I'm in it for the food. That's obviously evolved into a more deep and meaningful understanding of hunting in general and being out there and that connection. So yes, it was like, am I hunting for this, for adventure? Is this something that I want in my brain and in my thinking? It makes sense and I really want it, but am I actually going to feel that when I get to the top of the mountain and I'm, feeling all those feels? And I remember, not too much of a tangent. It was an amazing hunt. There were so many goats. We were blown away. We didn't know if there was water up top. The creek dried out halfway up. So we were like, let's take a chance. It was so hot. We ran out of water by the time we got up there. And I filmed Tash's hunt. And then I had the opportunity to go for one. And I just remember getting up that morning, and Pete and I went on the stalk where we climbed up the mountain and kind of did this ridge play on this goat. And I had so much energy and I had so much like stoke climbing. And I remember looking and talking with Pete as we were climbing, where I'm just like smiling and it all felt great. And so we got up there and it all worked out. Don't worry. If we release the film, my hunt's not part of the film, so don't worry. I got up there and made a play, got the goat. It was an amazing experience. And Pete, we were butchering it on the top. It was just like, yes, 100%. I will be doing this until the day I die, on top of a mountain hunting a critter. This is something that means so much to me, more than just something fun.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, very cool. I can't wait to see that film, and you guys got such cool photos, and you've already told some social media stories around it, so you've framed it well. So I can't wait to see more on that. But okay, so now we're going to talk. We're going to talk this new film from the Wild Sheep Society of BC that you've led through. So let's give a little bit of background, set us up on who Filter Studios is. You talked a little bit about your background in the film industry. You've been in the industry and where you went to school. Just tell us the moving parts, your role, and then the evolution of how this film came to be.
Yeah. So Filter Studios is myself and Tash. That is our production company. We expand and contract teams based on project scope. So we have a Rolodex of people that we bring on as needed. So for this, we brought on our friend and very capable director, Dan Minsky. He's very well versed in the hunting world and the outdoor space. The analogy I give for Dan, or at least I do in my own head, is that I use him like I need a drill bit. Like if I have something that I need to really get into the inside and really understand and see what's on the inside, I put Dan onto it. He is so good at just having those pointed, respectful conversations, but he gets to the root of what the issue is or what makes people tick. And if you spend some time with Dan, which I'm sure, and I hope that both of you can, you'll see that the energy that he brings is just, he lives on the outside. There's no like inside. He just like, he talks. And anyway, so he's my drill bit. And so with this project, we brought him on. And one of the things that there was a lot of unknowns with what we were creating with this film. So we made that team. It was myself, Tash, and Dan as kind of the core team, and then kind of dug into it. And all we knew, like when I talked with the society early on, all that was kind of communicated was that there was this disease that was that happened amongst domestic sheep and wild sheep, and it's called Mycoplasma Ovipneumoniae, or M.Ovi for short. So we dug in and got into it, and then started to expand who really was part of all of this issue, and learned about Jeremy from the BC Sheep Separation Program, learned who Chris Proctor was, a wildlife biologist, and we tried to keep our focus on the Fraser herd, because that's where the efforts and the heavy focus was at the time, and I mean still is with the society. And so just got into that world and got immersed to really figure out what the true point of it was, because we didn't want to just create like, this is what M.Ovi is, talking heads of people explaining what it is and saying, oh, this is the issue. We really wanted to get to the root of it. So we really dug in and came up with I think a storyline that really hits deep. One of the things there's lots of things, but one of the main things we do as a quote unquote production company is really start out with a goal and really start out with what we're trying to accomplish, and then focus on the heart. So when we present characters, when we present storylines, we really focus on trying to engage people in a meaningful way rather than just Tash and I were talking about it recently, that a lot of the work that we do really focuses on the heart of the story, and not necessarily a heavy focus on like big fancy cameras or movements and cinematic vibe. That's all part of it, but as our core elements, it's really hard to teach creating engaging stories. It's pretty easy to learn camera movements and stuff. It's hard to get good at it. But from a producer standpoint, I can hire out those kind of things. But I can't hire out someone who knows how to build and engage a story and communicate emotion well. So that is a big focus of what we were trying to do with this film, is really create engagement, because one of the goals from the get-go was that we need to create awareness about this issue. And how do we do that? And how can a film, kind of engage people in a certain point, or bring them to a certain point of, being aware and wanting to do something about this issue. So how, at the start, how do we form a story where people are engaged enough that they want to do something? And that's kind of where we've come to now.
So you talk about awareness, and you want to create awareness around this issue of M.Ovi. Who is this film built for? Is it built for Wild Sheep Society BC members? Is it built for hunters? Who's? And I'm setting up here. I've seen the film, but give our listeners a bit of and so is Steve, and it's absolutely freaking amazing. By the way, I just cannot wait to share it with our people who were integral in making this happen and supporting the cause. But let's talk about who this film is for and why it's so important, Jesse.
Yeah, what a great question, Kyle. That was the one of the goals off the top too of who our target audience is for this. Society was very clear that the target audience is not who's in our echo chamber. We don't just want to communicate to the hunting and conservation world of, this is an issue, because everybody in our space knows about this. We really wanted to reach beyond and again go to the core issue of what's where the greatest change is going to happen. And so our target audience is those domestic farm producers, farmers, 4-H club members, a lot of people that probably don't exist on social media, a lot of people that have these farms that are off grid and that are out there. That's really who our target audience is and who we're trying to reach with this. And that's why we've taken this different approach to this film. I'm curious to hear from, you mentioned it a little bit, Kyle. I know that Steve just was able to watch the film last night. I'm curious to hear what your impressions are, Steve.
In a word, wow. I was looking at it through a complete objective lens, not as a hunter, but as somebody, I know of M.Ovi, I know what it does, but I don't know much more beyond that. And I thought the first 30 seconds was that hook. We've discussed the hook many, many times on different projects. Mm-hmm. It was, okay, you got me. And before I knew it, I'm looking at the time, because it's 54 minutes or something. Mm-hmm. I look at the time, I'm like, holy shit, 38 minutes. And it was really well laid out. And I think it does the job beautifully. It lets you know the who, what, when, where, why, and how we need to deal with it. So there's some great lines in there from some of our heavy hitters that should hold people to accountability, and well, hopefully. And I'm stoked to see where it goes.
I'm glad to hear it.
So, are you able to share a little bit about any storylines or anything, or is that saved for people to just experience it? Do you want to talk a little bit about? I think there's some important things here that happen. Like, to me, this film is so symbolic of the work the Wild Sheep Society of BC has been doing for the last 30 years. Our disease work, our education, the work we're doing on the landscape, the test and remove that we're doing on the Fraser River ecosystem, our biggest project to date, the relationships we built with domestic producers and farmers and the ag community, and the frickin' frustration that we spent 30 years, and what do we have to show for it? Wild sheep are still dying every single day. And there's so many aspects of it, and it's really, really all encompassing. And you guys touch on every single one of them, right? It's phenomenal, actually. So I guess maybe can we talk a little bit of some of those issues and the film and
well, I think it's I think we want to keep as much as the film to the screening events and to the festivals as much as possible, because what I will say to that is, what Tash and I really try to do, and working with Dan really try to do, is create story. And actually, we talk about a hook, and we talk about a beginning, a middle, and an end. So you have a climax or a resolution, and then you have how the story kind of evolves and the hero's journey, and have all this kind of stuff. And it's very rare that we have the client, the patients, the timelines to actually build those out. And this film, we're able to do that. So we have, as Steve said, a hook, which hooks you in. We have a beginning, we have a middle, we have an end. There's this film is pretty much an hour long. So it's meant to, you sit down and you can be immersed and lost in the story. And so we take you on that journey so that you can, and again, it was put together so that someone with no understanding at all, that has no idea what M.Ovi is, can sit down, can be educated to a certain level so that they're not, lost or overwhelmed or anything like that, just enough so that they understand. They're taken on a journey where we go to the dark places that we need to go. Then we go to the light places, and then we go to the positive of what's next and kind of next steps. So it's a journey. That's what I'll say about the film. But I think it's important that that we recognize that it was built for not our hunting community. It was built for as an outreach tool. We're trying to get people out, and that's kind of, as we're as I'm, talking about our distribution strategy and how we're going to put this film out there. That's a big reason why it's not just out on the internet and out on the internet lands. We're trying to draw people out. We're trying to draw people to events. We're trying to use this as a tool and not just be a piece of content that lives out there. So I think our timing is pretty spectacular with in-person events are kicking off now. I'm dying to get out and get to events and stuff. So we can really utilize that in our communities and stuff and draw people out. So it's like, we're having, I was going to screen the film with a couple characters that are in it. And, we were just going to go to their place, and we were going to say, here, before it kind of comes out publicly, here, check out the film. And then they're like, oh, well, our neighbor heard about it and wants to come out and see it. And then, okay, yeah, that's cool. And then blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, well, this person heard about it. This other person who's a farmer heard about it. This person owns the brewery in town. They're willing to shut it down for a night to come out. And then now all of a sudden we've gone from screening the film privately with with a family that's in the film to now we have over, I think, 40 people coming to this private event. Includes the MLA, includes Ministry of Ag, includes wildlife biologists, includes domestic sheep farmers, people that have been interested in getting their flock tested, to participate with Helen, our main character. All these people are coming out now to this event. So now we have a way where we can not only show the film, but then we can engage with them afterwards, which also puts the work that the society's done and all the time and all the energy that's gone into it. I won't want to say a pedestal, but it just puts or validates us out there. It validates what the society does and how the society approaches these kind of issues. We're a boots on the ground organization, and it's about putting money on the ground. It's not about the politics and stuff, but unfortunately, you got to play that game sometimes. But yeah, that's so that's just kind of, and I think once people watch the film, they understand the potential and the power that this film has. So that's why we're really trying to do these in-person events and why we're really trying to draw people out, because again, the film is the excuse for people to gather, and then the Q&As and the workshops afterwards of really educating people on the next steps is what the fulfillment is, and how we can really make that change stick.
So let's talk a little bit about the rollout, the distribution strategy. What does that look like? Where can, so you talked about some screenings, people are involved, they want to see it. What's your tour, your film tour? What does that look like short term? And then let's talk timelines. And then ultimately, when can people get on the interweb or wherever they are and have a look at it? Is it 10 years from now? Is it 6 months? Is it next week?
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully not. It's 10 years. It's not 10 years, but hey, you come out to an event and you don't have to wait 10 years. No, but I'm kidding. It's so initially we're starting off. So one of the things in getting into this issue and getting into, especially spending a lot of time with Jeremy and the BC Sheep Separation Program, like that guy and his program is so key to what the society does in the sheep separation issue and what it is, and the whole project. Jeremy is key to that in his program. And I remember when I was like, what do you do with your job? And he knocks on doors and he hands out fact sheets and pamphlets. I was like, cool. Like, where you must have a website where this information lives and stuff. And he goes, no, I don't have a website. He's got a Gmail account and a phone number, and that's it. So what we're doing is also creating a website. That's part and parcel where we centralize all our information about the film, but more importantly, where we centralize information about M.Ovi. So we centralize articles, issues, contact information, collaborative partners, who wants to be involved. So that way, when Jeremy's or anybody's doing outreach to anybody, you can just say, go to this website, and you have all the information. And if you want to contact the Wild Sheep Society, contacts there. If you want to contact HCTF, they're there. If you want to contact Jeremy or the BC Sheep Separation Program, he's there. So it's all just a centralized tool. So there's that level of engagement that we're trying to do. Right now, the website is got a coming soon page up, but it'll be up in the next couple days with when it goes live. Anyways, so the overall strategy again is this is an awareness tool to raise awareness about M.Ovi. So a big emphasis that we got from the society was that festivals. We want this film to go in festivals to reach beyond our reach and to reach into the general public and to reach outside of the hunting and conservation space. And so with timing and what festivals are doing is right now is all about applications. It's all about submitting your films to festivals. They usually run through the fall into the spring. So right now we're basically submitting this film to all the festivals and entering it. And so a lot of those festivals have restrictions and won't be considered if it's publicly released or anything like that. So because that's a big goal that we set out with the film and how we want to reach beyond, that's why we're going to hold off on releasing it publicly via YouTube or Vimeo or anything like that. And in the meantime, while we wait for those festivals to get established and announced and the film to go through these festivals, we're going to do a private tour. So we're going to set up events, these private screening events. Some of them are going to be WSSBC events, and like on the 23rd of April is a members only event, and we're going to have the film there and screen to our members. And others are going to be just locations, and we're going to find a theater, find a university, find anywhere to kind of screen the event and hopefully work with local 4-H clubs and work with the Ministry of Ag and kind of build these outreach tools as we develop this. So the spring, summer is going to be these private tour events, and the best. I can't really say exactly what all the dates are right now because we're just waiting for confirmations on events and locations and stuff like that. But it's all, coming out very, very soon. We're just waiting for confirmations. But our focus is going to be and as I built the tour, I've focused the destinations on where domestic farms are and domestic sheep producers are. So a lot in southern BC, and a few up north. I think we go as far north as northeastern. I think so. Smithers, Dawson Creek are on the radar for a tour. So I'm going to release the initial tour, but there's also, I'm also building out a screener package. So if anybody wants to host an event, we don't want to be a huge roadblock to creating awareness to it. But I am very aware of, there is a sensitivity on this issue and we have to be aware of that. And so over the spring and summer is going to be private events. And then into the fall will be festivals. Once we have a clear indication of our festival run, then we will determine our public release, which will probably happen in the fall or into early next year. But yeah, come out to events, come support.
Yeah, so for our members, if they're really keen and they want to get the first glimpse of this, the first private screening in public, if I could say that, is April 23rd in Prince George. And you can buy tickets to that event. Go to our website, get signed up, and you can come and see the film. And then we're going to do a Q&A afterwards. You're going to be there. Tash is going to be there. We're going to talk about the film, the impact. And then we have a whole bunch of other stuff planned that day too. But so April 23rd is that first one. And yeah, anyone that wants to, of course you have to pay for it. It's not free. But again, this is to support our mission and what we're doing here for conservation.
How do people get tickets? I've been asked twice today how the tickets are selling.
I think I just said go to our website. It's on the homepage, but
yeah, but you know what people take, right? Sometimes you got to say 3 times. How are tickets selling?
Yeah.
Another question.
It's good. We've got a handful left, and honestly, it will sell out, and we're not that far off. We're 3/4 of the way there, and I think once this goes, they're gonna sell pretty quickly too. So it's a small event. It's an intimate setting. It's at Trench Brewery, and again, don't just show up because you're not going to get in without a ticket. We will sell out, and it's going to be a great night. We're looking forward to it. But yeah, wildsheepsociety.com, and right on the homepage, the icon's in the middle of the page there. Click on that, and it's got the full layout. We're doing some horn aging education. A bunch of giveaways, a silent auction, and just a great fun event for the evening. We're also launching, sorry to segue, but we're going to launch our beer there as well with Trench Brewery. So yeah, it's going to be a great night. But the cool takeaway here is you get to see the film, you're going to meet the filmmaker, you get to sit down with Jesse and Tash and talk about the film and hear their journey and learn more about what we're doing on the landscape. So really cool, really exciting. I can't wait. And of course, whatever dates we have currently, Jesse will make sure we distribute them in the show notes here and make sure people are educated on it. So now, should we talk more distribution about the film tour, or do you have more there? Because I got some stuff I want to talk about on the ag side of things and that relationship or.
Yeah, I think it's just worth mentioning that we've kind of kicked off social with the film specifically, Instagram at M.Ovi Free, M-O-V-I-F-R-E-E. The website that we're centralizing all this that we were talking about earlier is movifree.org, and Facebook Transmission Film. That's kind of, through Instagram and Facebook is where we'll be launching and keeping people in the know for tour dates and locations. Also on the website, as details come out, there'll be all the information will be centralized on there. So, but yeah, I think that's pretty good for distribution and plan. And thank you everyone for your patience.
Well, and thank you for delivering, honestly, like a world-class film. It's unbelievable, the content and the quality of it. And it was certainly worth the wait. And I'm so excited about this project and just sharing it with our membership.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear.
Okay, so let's segue a little bit. Same topic, but you talked about involving the Ministry of Agriculture. We know what the heart of this issue is, that M.Ovi kills wild sheep, and domestic sheep are part of that issue, if you will. So how is this going to be received from the ag community? Are we making friends? Are we making enemies here? You talked about the Ministry of Ag. What's their involvement? Are they going to be happy about this? Are they going to be angry about this? What does this look like with that relationship with agriculture?
Yeah, and that was a big goal that we set out from the beginning, is that this is a balanced message. We don't want to come out and say, oh, this is hunters versus farmers. This is a balanced message of we're all in this together. And, when I first got onto this, I was like, oh, how do you get somebody to care about an animal that they might not care about? How do we get domestic sheep farmers to care about wild sheep? And initially I was like, oh, this is going to be difficult because most people just want to, head down, do their own thing. And what we found out, which, that's a very good just human behavioral thing to understand, is that if people are given a reason to care, they will care. And so, we presented this in a way, and, luckily we found farmers that were just so eager to help and care in Jen and Trevor and Briscoe, that we were able and had the good opportunity to present this balanced message of just, here is what's going on. We're not blaming anyone, but this is how it's happening. And we've and I think it's going to be received well so far. Everyone that I've talked to about it within, not that I've talked to everyone in ministry, but is just excited to see it and excited to share it. It's very much a collaborative effort, especially with the ministry. They've been very supportive from the get-go, from even talking to me as a film producer, not only just working with the Wild Sheep Society and being a partner in this. So,
it's interesting. I go to the website, movifree.org, and it's literally coming soon, and as it says there. But the interesting thing is that, this is a Wild Sheep Society BC led film, and there's a bunch of domestics on there. So talk a little bit about that. And there's a picture of a wildlife veterinarian. There's a bunch of domestics and a farmer on there. Why isn't there a ram on there? What's the story there?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kyle, and I'm not making fun of you or being facetious. That is an actual great question. Again, going back to what our initial goals were and who our target audience is, we've branded this film to have a very farm domestic sheep feel. The visuals as we market it and everything will be completely focused on the domestic side of things, because that's where target audience is, and that's who we're trying to engage the most with this. Everyone in the sheep world, and trust me, I filmed a lot of them, really good wild sheep footage in the film. I'm biased because I filmed it, but I got pretty lucky and I filmed some pretty rad stuff. So don't worry, there's lots of wild sheep stuff in there, and you will get you will be happy with what I've shot. But as for branding and what our posters are going to be, what our social media is going to be, is very domestic centric, because that's who we're trying to engage with the most, and that's most important for us to engage with, because that's where the change needs to happen. A big part of the story is that we go through in the film, which is different than how we've dealt with M.Ovi in the past, is the potential of eliminating M.Ovi from the source, rather than the eliminating it from the wild population, which is the end of the chain. Let's go back to the beginning of where the transmission starts, where this M.Ovi all originates. And so that's what we're trying to approach, and we're trying to get at M.Ovi from the source, because if we can eliminate it from the source, well, I don't really need to say anything beyond that. That's where you make the greatest change to this bacteria disease.
Yeah, and to me, the film, and again, I don't want to give too much away, but the interesting thing for the film that I find is it touches on the relationship between wild and domestic and the interface, and the importance and the impact and what's happening. But there's two other things that are important there. It's the test and remove project we're doing in the Fraser. So, some very, I guess, landmark or earth-shattering or significant changes in the wild sheep communities happening through that project. And it was kind of a template that happened down in the Hell's Canyon first. And they had some science that they tried there and had some significant improvements. And now they're doing that in the Fraser ecosystem. And we're seeing some significant, and this is project-related stuff. This is not really, the film doesn't really dive into it, but it touches on it, right? That's part of it. So there's that. And then the work that Helen's doing through the farm and the Kootenays, and it touches on that as well. And again, this could change the face of M.Ovi, the face of wild sheep, is if Helen's treatment and her studies and the science that she's putting in and the money that we've spent as a society to support that could actually change the wild sheep forever. Really a significant.
Yeah. And a big thing that, getting into this wildlife biology space, when you get into it, and you talk to these biologists and get to know their day-to-day and veterinarians, their day-to-day is usually built upon a one-way street where they see things going one direction, and that's decline. And as a human being and as a personal motivation and as a trying to stay positive and doing a good job in this work, wildlife biologists are not there for the money. I guarantee it. They are there because they care deeply about wildlife, because they're passionate people. So, as we kind of got into this and learned more about it, I remember talking to Mr. Proctor about it. And he's like, there's very few things that we do that we can see the result of being a positive impact. This work that, thankfully, because the Wild Sheep Society BC has done so much funding and so much awareness of it, that Chris is able to do this work. Chris and the team and everyone involved is able to do the work on the herd, the Fraser herd. It's one of the rare times that they've seen a positive impact happen during the work that they're doing. Usually, you kind of do these projects and work in wildlife for, future generations, that the hope that something will change and that it will create an impact down the line. But the work that they're doing on the Fraser is one of the rare things where they're seeing things bounce back and becoming a really not only positive thing, but an energizing thing for the people on the ground actually doing the work. And that was amazing to see.
So the film, if you were to characterize it, you talked about, the hook and then the meat of it, and then, the hope for the future. Is there hope? Are people going to watch this and they're going to be inspired? What does it look like coming out of this film for somebody that watches it? I know how I felt afterwards. I don't want to give away way too much. I can tell you one thing, it's incredibly emotive, that there were tears shed, maybe not mine, but there were tears in the room.
Lies.
And it's an emotional journey. And this is not a science film. There's no science. There's 3 seconds of science that are very cleverly done. It's about emotion. It's about relationships. It's a human film that anyone can watch. A 10-year-old can watch it, and they're probably going to bawl their eyes out.
What I like is we scream science all the time and not emotion, but this is done beautifully because we tie that emotion to the science, and it pairs really, really well. And as you said, I stopped it a minute in and just said to the wife, "Holy crap." And she was doing the same thing. It was just and she's a rancher, right? She comes from a ranching family, and it was just so it tells the story beautifully for those that are clueless on what's going on. And it as I said, it hit all the markers that I was looking for.
At the end of the day, there's no secret to what we do as a production company. What we do is we focus on people, and we let people tell those stories. If you get the right people, that's where magic can happen. The right people that can tell those stories. And when we first met Helen, all of us were just like, oh my gosh, this lady needs to be a character, and we need to just follow her with a camera, because she's everything that we as filmmakers and storytellers dream of. because she has the whole package where she's validated in the industry, she's well respected, she's a goofball, she's intelligent, she's fun, she's serious, she's a leader, she's also a follower. She's just everything, and she's amazing. So all we did was we said we got to follow her lead, and that's what we did, and we put her at the forefront, and we see her go through this journey as someone, again, kind of talking about, you know, the biologists and veterinarians and these scientific professionals in this industry that are just trying to create science, but everybody else is, you know, has something to say, and you know, roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, whether it's funding, whether it's time, whether it's politics, whatever, always get in the way. And then there's these passionate people that are just trying to create science to move forward in some direction, even if it's the wrong direction, or if it's an answer that's not the answer, you still need to decide if this is an option that will work or not. So again, all that we do as a company, and all that we try to really focus on is human beings, because at the end of the day, people connect to people the most.
Awesome. Yeah, very well said. And yeah, you guys nailed it. You definitely hit the hammer on the head on that one, or nail on the head. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about you know, there's the hope piece at the end, you know, and where we're heading. Is there a sequel to this film? Is this a one and done? What does that look like? Would there be another? Is there more story to tell? Because I've talked to two people that have watched this film, independent of me, and they've said to me they want more. They want that next story. Is there more story to tell?
Yeah, well, it's there definitely is, and we're already in working on the next one, talking to people and following up with them about what's next. Yeah, I don't really want to say what it is specifically that we're doing, but yes, there will be a sequel produced for this. I've already got clear direction from the society that they want it. So we're working on it. There will be more. I think it was Chris Barker was one of the main proponents of like, oh, I want more. It's like, oh, that's good. That's good engagement. That's the positive engagement that we want to create. So.
Okay, let's just talk a little bit about funding partners. Who built this film? So obviously, Filter built it. You guys are the production team, the film company that did it. Who's behind it? You know, I say the Wild Sheep Society BC film, but do you want to talk a little bit of who's involved, who funded it, where we got the support?
Yeah, so it was a pool of funding, mainly I guess, led by the Wild Sheep Society of BC, the main funder. We work closely with HCTF, Habitat Conservation Trust Foundation. We worked with them. We didn't work with them, but they did pool and commit a substantial amount of funding towards the film. And then we had the Wild Sheep Foundation Alberta, and a bunch of other sponsors.
So the takeaway for me on this is a hats off to the members of the Wild Sheep Society BC for bringing this to fruition. That it's through the support, the work we do on the ground, and through the donations and fundraising that's done, that we were able to support this project. And this is an incredibly powerful educational tool that truly will be important in changing the work that's done to support wild sheep in the province. There's no question about that.
Yeah. So let me just list off all the funding partners. So yeah, obviously it was the Wild Sheep Society and HCTF for that Habitat Conservation Trust Foundation. We also had contributions from the Wild Sheep Foundation Midwest, Wild Sheep Foundation Alberta, Wild Sheep Foundation Yukon, the Jurassic Classic, and the Abbotsford Fish and Game Club, and the Cabela's Canada Outdoor Fund Grant. So that was kind of our pool of everybody that contributed to the film.
Awesome. And this has been a long ways in the making. So like you said, the HCTF grant went in 2018. So you guys started working on this in 18. In 19, we got the funding, and that's when things kicked off. And so you talked about some delays. Just give us the 30,000 foot version of what those delays were. You know, it's pretty obvious, but for our listeners, you know, what was the big roadblock?
Yeah, I mean the obvious roadblock that was COVID issues, because a lot of the work that we had planned to do was door knocking, being in people's houses, doing outreach in remote places, and so that obviously when COVID hit and the pandemic was in full force, that was just not an option, and we actually had to pivot halfway through of kind of what our storyline was, because some people weren't available. And but yeah, essentially it was COVID. I'll pull that card with full confidence, because that's what it was. And we had that kind of break during COVID where we were able to do some more filming, and we essentially, my job was to just have conversations with people during these especially the first bit of COVID, to see what comfort levels were. And, every once in a while we could, if we're filming outdoors, then we could go and get that scene filmed or work on that. But it was just being respectful of people and just trying to move this forward as much as possible. And I think HCTF gets some props as well for being patient and allowing us to have extension on extension on extension for the funding that was requested and given. So, but yeah, that's what it was, and that's the reality of it. But I'm glad we're here where we are now.
Absolutely, man. I am so stoked about this film, and it's so powerful. I got a chance to watch it the second time when we got together at our Salute to Conservation. You did a screening for us there, and just to be in that room with the directors and knowing that it's something that one of our directors has worked so hard on to bring together. And I know for Chris, it's such a powerful thing as well, because Chris Barker's been in the conservation arena for 25 years, and this is something near and dear to his heart. And he's featured he's in the film. He's one of the characters. Again, I'm probably giving away too much here, but Chris's passion for wild sheep goes so far back, for 25 years. And for him to watch that, it was pretty powerful to share that with him and see him and his reaction to it. So, man, I my hat's off to yourself, Tash, Dan, and the whole Filter crew for a phenomenal film. It's so exciting, and I just can't wait to share it with our membership and see how it's going to move the needle for wild sheep conservation. I truly believe it. This is going to be an educational outreach tool that's never have we had as an effective tool as this film, in my opinion.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. And again, I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, is that this wouldn't be possible without the Society's leadership from the start of saying what the clear goal was of speaking outside of the echo chamber. That's leadership. And also having the patience along the way, and to tell us as creatives and filmmakers to make it best or make it better. Don't make it because of a deadline. We can work through this pandemic together, and we can, make it good. And that enabled me and my team to make it good. And we're pretty happy with it. I'm even more happy and excited to share it with the world and see those impacts that it's going to have. I was actually, just a small tangent that's worth talking about. I was talking with Mr. Bill Jex before this call. Him and I talk all the time. And he said one of the things that he's recognized at his level is that with the social structures and the way that people digest information these days, what we do in the film and media space is instrumental to guiding people's hearts and minds moving forward. So thanks, Bill. That's a lot of responsibility, but it just speaks to the importance and the power that these kind of things have. So if they're done well, and if they're done properly and motivated well, which we all believe, I think that this is in the right place, and it touches on the right parts of a human to make change.
Fantastic. Mr. Bone, I want to thank you for coming on today, talking wild sheep, talking about transmission, talking about films, talking about what makes you tick as a director. It truly is an honor to serve with you through the Wild Sheep Society of BC. I love the lens that Jesse, that you bring to our board of directors, and I'm grateful for everything you do, and I'm super, super stoked about this new film. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I'm super excited to chat more and to share this thing with the world.
Awesome.